I want to introduce Barbara Hanchett, who's been involved and from the very beginning. Barbara Hanchett.
Aloha no na po'e o Hawai'i. My name is Barbara Hanchett, and I'm a keiki okaina of Moloka'i. I want to share some of my own personal mana'o of my involvement in the beginnings of Hui Alaloa, and some other speakers following will also do the same. And we hope to give you a picture of what it meant on Moloka'i to get a, quote, grassroots organization movement together, and that it could not be done just physically, but we had to be together both emotionally, spiritually, as well as physically. Just to give you a little bit background of who I am, I was born and raised on the island of Moloka'i, but I spent 12 years away getting an education, first at the Kamehameha schools, and later on directly to the University of Hawaii for another 6 years. And the reason why I stayed away from Moloka'i that long was really to be able to go back and live there permanently and to contribute to the community that raised me and that provided me with the kind of person that spiritually that I am, as well as emotionally. I was raised on a homestead in Ho'olehua, and when I first went back to Moloka'i after getting my degree at the university, I was fortunate enough to be a social worker at Queen Liliuokalani Children's Center. And let me make it really clear, I'm not speaking for the agency, it is my personal mana'o, but I think it's important that people know who I am. My work at the Children's Agency is very important to me because it's one way in which I can give back to that community that has given me so much. The sense that I was raised with on the island of Moloka'i was one of being a Hawaiian with not really even thinking about it. I didn't really know that I was anything else but a Hawaiian. And it was only until I got back to Moloka'i that I realized that we are not all at the same place. And it was very sad for me when I realized that there was a lot of struggles going on that we as Hawaiians were not paying attention to. And prior to Hui Alaloa coming about, when we did the first trail march to Kaua'i, and again that issue will be brought up later by some other speakers, Moloka'i was considered an island that was sleeping. And Auntie Clara Ku, who just spoke earlier, once told me that we have to hikiola, we have to have a rebirth to live again. And one of the homestead or projects on Moloka'i, Hikiola, is the name of a cooperative that Auntie Clara gave them that name, and it means to rebirth. And that cooperative is helping the farmers get together and put their Hawaiian homelands back into production. My first experience with Kaho'olawe was one of an unknown experience initially. I really had never thought of Kaho'olawe other than an island that no one could use. And I think when I first went there, the sense of, and this was in February of '76, that was the first and only time I've been to Kaho'olawe. And the kind of sharing that was experienced there is the kind of sharing that we've always had on Moloka'i with our kupuna and with one another. And I'm not saying that we never disagree, because I'll make it really clear now, we disagree a lot, but I think we allow each other the space within our ohana to experience one another's differences so that we can always look towards the goal of having a unified napo'e, a unified people. And I think that's what the Protect Kaho'olawe Ohana and Hui Alaloa as grassroots organizations has meant to me, that it brings us together, that it allows us the space to be different and yet to have one thought, to have one mana'o. And on the issue of Kaho'olawe, after that one experience, being on the island and seeing what it brings to us as people. When I went there, I didn't know anybody except the people from Moloka'i, and yet when we got on the island, because we had to swim from the boat about, I don't know distance well, but about 100 yards, I would guess, from one boat, swimming on to the next and getting closer and then swimming in. It was the idea that we were all together and that this land was our Aina, and it was not just a barren rock, that there was life. And I don't only mean what you see, I mean what you can feel. And I think a lot of people who have subsequently gone on the Aina have felt that way. And I think that it's not only with the Aina, but it was also with the people who were there, that you could feel as one because you all went with one understanding, that that land does mean something to us. And it is not just a barren piece there, that if all that happens with Kaho'olawe, that it remains the way it is, there's nothing wrong with that. Or if there are other ideas that people have to use it to make our people strong once again, I think that's all we're asking. And I think that's all we're feeling, and we're trying to transmit that to the forces that be, meaning the government, the military, etc. I just wanted to share something a little bit personal, because I think it gives you an idea of how, even though we're different, we can come together. My father is in his 50s, and when I first came home, he considered the group, the Hawaiians, radicals. And today, I don't think, he has that same kind of perspective. And I knew that he had changed. My father's not one to talk that much, but I knew he had changed his attitude when we on Moloka'i, besides having to involve ourselves and raise money, fundraisers for the court dealings, and also trying to support Walter and Richard when they were on the Aina, we did a trip to Maui from Moloka'i and circled the island of Kaho'olawe to show them support. We knew that they could see the boats circling. And when I left early that morning and I was going out to the car, my father came out from our yard. We have a big orchard. And he came out from the yard, and he had the commissioner for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands representing, again, the island. And I think, I'm sharing this to give you an example that there are many ways that we all can involve ourselves at all different levels, but we really need to search within our own selves where we want to fit in towards the movement in which we can all be able to feel that we are all at peace on our own land. And I think it's that kind of soul searching that if each of us as individuals, and I'm speaking of Hawaiians not only by koko, by the blood, but also those Hawaiians that are Hawaiian by heart, because indeed us as people of Hawaii have a lot to offer, and we can do that and share with one another. I think another way that I've moved in my own personal life, and it's not away from the direction, it's just a different way of getting to the same ends, is I've, in my own personal way, become involved in my church again. And I'm very proud in the sense that our church passed a resolution about 3 years ago to stop the bombing of Kaho'olawe, because it was a sensitive issue that we felt needed support from wherever it could come. And I think, again, it's what we each can contribute to that kind of feeling. I feel a lot better now than when I first came up, because I think it has provided me an opportunity to share where I'm at, and I say mahalo to you for spending your time here with us. Thank you.
Barbara Hanchett. What we're talking about is 1975, when the Hui Aloloa came up and asserted some cultural rights, and those were rights of access to the beaches, West End,